It's just a very beautiful, calming place to be.
This is Dillard, Georgia, about an hour and a half north of the Atlanta area on the North Carolina state line. It's home to the Dillard House, a hotel and restaurant that's been boarding and feeding folks for over 100 years.
We are in Dillard, Georgia, at the Dillard House, which was founded in 1917 by my husband's grandmother, whose name was Carrie Edwards Dillard. She started a boarding house. She had her own garden. She grew all of her vegetables. She grew chickens. She had a cow for milk. She raised pigs, made her own sausage and bacon, and started taking in boarders. And that's how the Dillard House began in 1917.
More than 100 years later, that original vision remains. The Dillard House still welcomes guests to its breathtaking home in the North Georgia mountains. And although it's grown too large to grow all the food it serves, it's harvested from local farms.
Sweet potatoes, okra. I remembered all these wonderful vegetables, all this good food. It was so yummy. And they just bring it and bring it.
Raylene Corwin figures it's been about 30 years since her last visit to the Dillard House. She lives in Southern California. But on a recent trip back to Georgia to visit her mom, they took a drive to take in the scenery, and that's when the memory hit her. The Dillard House was nearby.
I remember less about what the place looked like and more about the food was so good, and the fried chicken and all the vegetables just impressed me. I love vegetables, and you do not get served. I mean, how many vegetables did they serve us? Like 7 or something? It was great. Maybe 8.
It's 7, but who's counting? Mention the Dillard House to anyone, and a conversation about the food is sure to follow. It's not a meal. It's a Southern culinary event that awaits. A typical lunch consists of 7 vegetables, 2 meats, 3 things of bread, and dessert, all served family style and all homemade.
Got some cream corn.
Southern Living awarded it for being the best breakfast and brunch restaurant and named it the best Southern restaurant.
We started off with whatever recipes we could gather together from my husband's grandmother, Carrie, and we've had good Southern cooks here in years past who had their own recipes. They contributed to the recipes. I've given the Dillard House a couple of my recipes, and so it's just a combination of gathering recipes for over 50 years.
I have not had cream corn that tasted sweet and delicious and fresh like that since I was little, because I lived with my grandmother and her sister lived next door, and she always had a big garden. So she would cut the corn off fresh, and they had the sweetest corn, and she would make the creamiest sweet cream corn. It was wonderful. And I mean, this was every bit as good.
Corwin's story is one they hear often at the Dillard House. So is Charlie Pruitt's.
I've been coming here since I was a little kid with my family.
Pruitt and his wife made the drive over from Greenville, South Carolina. Combine the food with the mountain vistas and scenic drive, and it's a chance for him and his family to take a break from the realities of day-to-day living.
It's fun to pass along a tradition that I experienced with my family growing up. Now to bring our children here, let them kind of see some of the same things. It's a little bit like a stepping back in time a little bit. It's a chance for them to put their smartphones down for a little while, and you can eat a nice meal here as a family and then go to the stables and see the animals that they have.
Venture out past the restaurant, and that's where you'll find the Dillard House stables and all its residents. Say hello to the horses that call the Dillard House home. Enjoy a scenic farm ride, river ride, or half-hour tour of the property on horseback. Don't forget to visit the goats at the farm zoo, too. It's just one of the many activities offered in and around the resort.
There is a 5,000 square foot antique mall within walking distance of here. There are many streams, hiking trails, and waterfalls within the proximity of here.
When the day's activities and a full stomach signal it's time to call it a day, guests can make the drive back home or experience another dose of Southern hospitality with a stay at the Dillard House. The hotel features 92 rooms and several cottages. Forget the TV and firing up the laptop. Enjoy the peace, quiet, and landscape for the night.
I think a lot of people like to come here just to diffuse and relax and enjoy just existing without having a lot of traffic, crime, work schedules. It's just a great place to totally relax.
And don't forget, for those guests that spend the night, another meal awaits. One with grits, pancakes, sausage, biscuits, gravy, and more. The resort hosts many church retreats, corporate outings, and other groups throughout the year. For Access Travel, I'm Nelson Hicks.